Hi all, welcome to the final whistle for another match preview then. I'll be joined by DJ Russy B from West Ham Network. There he is, tonight's guest, the man himself. There he is, beautiful picture. There he is with his thumbs up. He'll give me a thumbs up when he's ready to come in, of course. But yeah, we're going to preview West Ham versus Leicester. London is calling for the Foxes. Can Leicester deal West Ham a hammer blow before the World Cup and take all 3 points at the London Stadium tomorrow? It's a big game. It is a big game. West Ham fans, well, the 50-50 on Moyes in, Moyes out, just like Leicester fans was with Brendan Rodgers. But yeah, we're going to talk with Russ about the David Moyes situation. We're going to talk to him about the game, the opposition view, all the hammers going to the World Cup as well. So, yeah, remember, guys, as always, smash a like and subscribe to the final whistle. And I will see you in just a second. Hi all, welcome to the final whistle for the match preview as Leicester take on the Hammers at the London Stadium. Hope everyone's well. I'll be joined shortly by this man, tonight's guest, the top dog at West Ham United, Mr. DJ Russy B. I'll be joined by him very shortly. As always, guys, smash a like and subscribe to the channel. Push that notification button if you haven't already. It'll tell you every time we are live. And let's get this match preview underway then and bring in the man himself. Russy B, how are you?
I'm well, man. How are you guys? You all right, mate?
Give me a second.
Hello.
There we are. Better. I'll change inside.
Changing sides. Home and away. I like it.
Yeah, there we are.
I'm well, man. How are you, buddy? You all right?
I'm good. Talk to me then, Russ, the opposition, which is West Ham United tomorrow. Talk to me about your season so far, mate. How's it gone for West Ham?
Well, it's we're on the same points with the same goal difference, but you've scored a lot less, and a lot more, and conceded a lot more. We've scored a lot less and conceded a lot less. It's been fits and starts, to be honest. For me, in the summer we spent £180 million worth on 8 really, really good players, not squad players, but really good players. And it's almost like we're still in the pre-season, to be honest. Yep. That's how it feels like, because we bought a lot of the players towards the end of the summer transfer window. They didn't really integrate, and we spent a lot of money on our centre half, Naya Figuered, who then got injured in pre-season, playing only 20 minutes. He's just come back. And that made a real big difference to us. But it's just goals, not scoring goals. We are not scoring goals. That's the trouble at the moment. Creating chances, but not putting them in the back of the net. Talk
to me about Jarrod Bowen. It was a bit hit and miss at the start of the season. He's now starting to find a few goals now. How's his season been, Russ?
Average. He hasn't played. He's come back. The season before last, we were led to believe that he was training all for the summer, and he came back. And last season was fantastic, and was unlucky not to get in the England squad really last season. This season he's come back, and he's looked after the player. In all honesty, similar to a few other players as well, but I think. He's found a little bit of form the last couple of games, but then on the Crystal Palace game last week, he was rubbish. It's he's very hit and miss. Again, it's epidemic of our whole team at the moment. Very in and out. To be fair.
Oh, never mind. Talk to me about David Moyes. It's been the fans, like we said on your show, have been very, how do you put it, in, out, middle. Where
Very
is it
hokey,
all, Russ, with Moisey?
very hokey cokey. You know, it's in or out, in or out. I think there's definitely a schism in the fan base between Moyes in and Moyes out. You know, it's not 100% one way or the other, and even in there's a spectrum. There's people who want him out because they want him out because of his. I mean, I think the main issue is it's the style of football. I think people are quite bored of his style. You know, there's a big fan base who are quite bored of his style of football. I don't think his style's really changed much, but I think we were winning. And now we're not winning, so it's like Thomas Souček. Thomas Souček hasn't changed the way he's played, but he's not scoring goals. So everyone's like, okay, well, he's not very good. And so I think it's the same way with our play at the moment. And we went out and bought the Italian number 9 in Scamacca. We went out and bought the Brazilian number 8 in Paqueta. We bought Flynn Downs, who had the highest pass completion of any English player in the top 5 leagues last season, and we're playing the same type of football. I think people saw when all these players were coming in that we were going to do a different brand of football, and Moyes keeps calling it a transitional period. And so when does that transitional period end? No one's seeing any difference. I think that's where the frustration is. You spend all this money, raised our expectations, but there's no change in style of play. If that makes sense.
Yep. The Brendan Rodgers thing for Leicester City was the same. First 7 games didn't really do any good. Like I said to you earlier on, the Brighton game, the Tottenham game, we got absolutely spanked. And then Leicester fans said, you know what, we've had enough of Rodgers. He can't turn it round. We need a new manager. And now 7 games on, he's turned it around. And they look a completely different team than what they did at the start of the season. He's gone back to basics. Maybe that's something that West Ham fans would hope with David Moyes.
I think we're already in basic mode.
Oh,
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's quite basic. It's quite. We style our game on being a counter attacking, and people have found out. Well, if you want to stop West Ham, let them have the ball. Because there's nothing to counter attack. Then play a deep line, and it can't go over the top. I think the trouble is, when the fixtures came out, we knew he was going to be in trouble. The first 6 or 7 games, people were like, we're not going to get up any points. We played all the big boys, and Brighton, we never win against Brighton. They're like our bogey team. We've never beat them in the Premier League. And so we came out of that about 4 points. We have been unlucky, let's be honest. We have been unlucky. We've lost. We haven't been tonked. So, we lost by the odd, lost 1-0 at Anfield. Should have got something out of the game. Jarrod Bowen missed a penalty there. We lost 1-0 against United at Old Trafford. To be honest, should have got something out of that game. At least second half, we were, as I was saying the other day, Gary Neville said we were the best team that's given him the best game there this season. Chelsea, we had a VAR decision ruled out for a perfectly good goal where we would have gone away with a point. So, a couple of those points or, another 3 points, it may have been a different situation. But last season and the season before, it seemed the luck was going our way a little bit. When the passing was getting to people's feet, the little toe ends, that type of thing, the luck was on our side. Just hasn't clicked. We haven't had any luck this year at all.
Russ, let's talk about this man quickly. James Maddison going to the World Cup. A few other Leicester players I mentioned to you earlier on, Amarte, Mendy, Tillemans, Wout Faes, Castagna, Danny Ward are all going to the World Cup. What about West Ham? Who's going to the World Cup for West Ham, Russ?
Yeah, so we were just saying we've got technically 6 players at the World Cup, but Vlasic is currently on loan at Torino so he's been selected for the Croatian side. So obviously Declan Rice, we've got Thilo Kehrer, the German right back. He's the starting right back for Germany. We'll have Areola, who's in the French squad, who won't, as a second team reserve team goalkeeper. Naya Faged for Morocco, Paqueta for Brazil. So, Italy didn't qualify, so like Scamacca will be staying put. The likes of the Czech Republic boys, they didn't qualify either. So, we've got 5 key players there. But as I said, Areola probably won't play, but the others will. The others will get. You'll be on one of the first names on the team sheet. So, yeah, it's an all right number. I mean, when we come back, we play Arsenal at Boxing Day. So I think Arsenal will have 10 players going to the World Cup. So maybe a bit of an advantage going in after the break. We don't know, do we? We don't know what's going to happen after the World Cup. To be honest, what state players are coming back in and all that stuff. So. Yeah, it's. I think it's great that James Maddison's in the squad. We were saying the other in my show this afternoon that there's always one player that England rest their hopes on. Who I don't expect Maddison to start, but I expect him to be on the bench and and be brought on when games need changing. In the same way that Grealish was meant to be that type of role during the Euros last year, or last but 1 year. So no, it's great. I think it's great. I think it's really good, and hopefully he doesn't want to stake a claim for a first team place in the England squad tomorrow.
Yeah, agreed. Let's go on to the game, Ross. West Ham versus Leicester. It's the last game before the World Cup. Has it come at the right time for West Ham or the wrong time? What do you reckon, mate?
Right time. The right time.
I think I would have said that 7 games ago for Leicester.
Yeah. It's the right time. I mean, as I said, when we at the beginning of the season, we knew that August, September were going to be quite tricky. October was going to have a better time of it, and we did have a better time of it. We didn't pick up as many points I think we should have, and then we come into November, and actually, to be honest, as I said to you today, this is the end. This is the third of 3 home games in 6 days. Playing Palace on Sunday, we played Blackburn. We got knocked out of the Carabao on Wednesday, and then we got you guys on Saturday tomorrow. So. I would have hoped to have a better return than 2 losses in those 3 games, in all honesty. But thinking that you guys would probably be the toughest game, to be honest. So it was, and so we've already lost 1 and technically drawn 1, but we got knocked out by Blackburn. But it's definitely come at the right time. I think it's a reset, not just for the players, but I think for the fan base. There will be a lot of. I think it'll be a distraction for the fan base, the World Cup, and then come Boxing Day, it starts all over again.
It does, unless you're in the Carabao Cup, of course. Which
unlike you guys, of course. Yeah, exactly.
But Brendan Rodgers said in his press conference that the World Cup's come at the wrong time for Leicester. Leicester are on some right good form. Let's have a look at some stats, Russ, shall we? I picked a all competition head-to-head stat. Let me just move that one out of the way. Games, 138 games between the two sides. You've won 55. We've won 49. Draws 34. It's the 139th meeting tomorrow, Russ.
Wow. That's a lot, isn't it?
Not much in it. 6 wins to you lot.
Yeah. Well, it shows. I mean, to be honest, it's as you said, in recent times, it's been Leicester have been, a relatively, you said you haven't been at London Stadium for a while. It's been quite fruitful for us. But I think this is a very different West Ham side. I think it's a very different Leicester side as well. So, but yeah, I think it'll be close. I think it's gonna be a close game tomorrow. As I said, I'm didn't they Butterbean? Fuck off. Wish I could punch like him, I tell you. I'll go right and see Rossi LCFC 1993.
Good knock on his door. I'll tell you where he lives.
Just better say, I thought they made ice creams, not take the piss out of people. But anyway.
Let's look at the last meeting then. A 4-1 win for West Ham. Mikel Antonio double. And then you had the man himself, where cardboard cutout, waving it around in a circle. Talk to me about that game, Russ. It was one of our first away games of the season, West Ham.
Yeah, I think it was our first home game of the season. It was a good game. I remember it because we have all these lights now in the stadium, so we did a light show, but it was in the middle of August, so no one could see it, which was great. It looks good now. It looks fucking brilliant now, and when it's like night time, but we wouldn't do it tomorrow, unfortunately, only for the night games. And yeah, it was a good game. We played well. We did play well. Antonio was on fire.
We got sent off.
Yeah, you got the sending off made a massive difference. And yeah, I mean, as you said, in the previous year was at home, and it was obviously in COVID. That's the thing. It was the first game back after COVID, wasn't it? In terms of the everything open, season. So it was a good game, and I think I was there at the game that was in COVID because obviously we were still doing all the stuff at the stadium. So, and that was 4-0, I think. I think it was something like that. Russell Bean, very good, Rossi. Very good. But it's always I always enjoy Leicester. I went to uni at Loughborough, so I used to always go to see Leicester and Leicester away and whatnot. So yeah, it's always a good team. I always have a bit of a soft spot for Leicester.
Let's look at the last 6 Premier League games then for both
Let's
sides.
not.
Here we are. Talk me through them and your reaction to all them games. And we'll start with West Ham 1, Palace 2. What happened, Russ?
I thought Palace were exceptional. Palace have got so much dynamism in their midfield, and I mean that was an 89th minute winner. We actually went one up. I think there was our 4th goal we've scored in the first half all season. We went one up, and we should have easily finished it. But to be honest, Palace could have easily. It was a defensive error led to the equaliser, and then a deflected shot from Michael Eloise, who I thought was fantastic. The Man U game should have got something out of that game. No problem at all. Bournemouth, VAR won it for us. To be honest, we had a goal. They had a goal. We had a goal that should have probably been disallowed because Tilo Kehrer handballed it, but he was doing like this sort of weird thing with his hands, and they let it go. The Liverpool game, again, we had a missed penalty, Jarrod Bowen, and we had enough chances to win that game as well. The Southampton game wasn't a great game, and the Fulham game again was okay, but we were relatively lucky with VAR on that as well. None of those games, I'd say, any of the wins were very convincing. And the ironic thing, the two away defeats there were actually probably 2 of our best games, having still lost, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's the rundown.
Yeah, Leicester, I'm going to run you down them now. A magnificent performance away at Everton. A cracking start by Tielemans, Barnes. Exceptional. Leicester were exceptional that day. The Man City game, we defended for 70 minutes, then decided to come out. De Bruyne scored an absolute rocket on the postage stamp, off the post and in. Wolves, we went away there. They were poor. They hit us for like first 15 minutes in both halves with the Dharma Traore. It's what you expect, isn't it, Russ, when you play Wolverhampton with Traore? But we won the game 4-0. Vardy, Maddison, Tielemans, Barnes, another cracker by Tielemans. We beat Leeds at home, which was a decent performance, I suppose. The Palace game, it could say a boring game, to be honest, a boring 0-0. And then the Bournemouth game, it was one where we just previously beat Nottingham Forest the game before and hoped to have turned the corner, but then we went to the Vitality and went 1-0 up with Patson Daka and then ended up losing 2-1 somehow. So, yeah, I think we've turned the corner since the Bournemouth game, though.
Looks like it, mate. Definitely.
But let's look at the last 5 Premier League meetings, then, Bruce.
This might be a bit more fun. A little bit more fun.
This is at West Ham, away at West Ham.
Yeah, so I mean it's and I mean you've got
1 win.
one win. But it's there's always goals, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's at least 2 goals. So that'll be nice for a change. You see a few goals, and I think Vardy will always fancy West Ham, innit? He always fancies a goal at West Ham.
Yeah, I agree. 1 win then out the last 5. West Ham beating us 4-1 last season. 3-2 the season before that with a COVID game, wasn't it, Russ? That was when the Maddison thing happened between him and 4 other players going partying at other people's houses.
Yes.
The Harvey Barnes won in 2019, where he got his first ever Premier League goal for Leicester City Football Club against West Ham. And Jamie Vardy, like you say, loves a goal against West Ham. But let's look at the last 5 Premier League meetings altogether, Russ. The 2-2 draw at
Yeah.
King Power Stadium. Talk to me about that one. Was it handball or was it not from Craig Dawson, Russ?
Yeah, probably. To be honest, it probably was. Let's be honest. Nine times out of 10, these things, do get sorted out, but it didn't. And as I said, we had a goal against Bournemouth, which should have probably been ruled out. But then again, we had a goal disallowed at Chelsea for VAR, which was ridiculous. So it sort of goes. The old adage evens itself out across the year, and it does a little bit, I think. But yeah, apart from the 2020 January one, it reads quite nicely for us. Shame I don't think it will happen tomorrow.
Never rule yourselves out, Ross. That's what you never say about your own team. But yeah, I remember the game 4-1. Harvey Barnes scored and Ricardo, I believe. I think it was the one where it weren't Rice that scored. It was a penalty, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think
penalty to you. Yeah, you put away.
Yeah, I think so. It seems to ring a bell.
The 3-0 one was when Mikel Antonio scored.
We just turned over Wolves 4-0 the week before. We were in absolute. We were just hit. I mean, that's the thing.
Beast mode,
we were in beast mode, and and it was true though. We were, and it was there's. We have so many chances. We've been making so many chances. Apart from the Palace game, we're making loads of chances, but we just weren't scoring them. It's actually 7 out of 7, Rossi, to be honest, because we had it's 8 out of 8 because we had Viborg in the thing. So yeah, the first team ever in history to win all their conference games. Just saying.
There we are. Who's your favourite player, Ross?
Current player, it's got to be Mr. Declan Rice. Followed closely by. I'm a big fan of Naya Fagerd. I think he's going to be a fantastic defender for us.
All time.
All time. Oh, tricky. It would be probably something like Di Canio or Julian Dix.
Yep, agreed. Team selection then, Ross. What we're going for from the West Ham perspective? Any injuries you need to tell me about?
It was announced during the press conference that we was talking about Cornet. He's definitely out, but again, he's this guy who's had this injury, and it's only been out for like 2 weeks. He's been out for like 6 weeks, so Cornet won't be back until after the World Cup. But he hasn't featured for the last sort of 6 days. Great player, Lucas Paqueta. And that's really it. I think Emerson, who's one of our squad players, formerly of Chelsea, he broke his nose apparently at the Blackburn game, so he's had that reset, so he might be touch and go, but again he would just be on the bench. We'd go 4-2-3-1, I'd imagine. It'll be Fabianski in goal, back four Cresswell, probably Zuma, Dawson and Tilo Kira. I don't think Aged will be. He's only played a couple of games coming back from injury. He hasn't played all season. He's only played the last 2 Europa Conference games and the game against Blackburn. So I don't think he'll be back. It was a shame because he's a cracking player. And then we'll probably play with Declan Rice and Souček as the 2. Then the 3, you're looking at Ben Rama, Paqueta and Bowen with Gianluca Scamacca up front. He'll start up front. And then if it doesn't work out, 60 minutes on, he'll bring on Antonio for Scamacca. It's pretty much what happens. Yeah, but don't worry. Yeah, but don't worry. He's a shadow of himself at the moment. Which is really sad to see.
Loves the goal against us, though.
He does actually, yeah. Good point.
Let's look at the team I've chose for Leicester then. Danny Ward, Castagno, Marte, Fass, Luke Thomas is a back 4. Samore, Dewsbury Hall, Tillemans, Madison, Barnes and Patson Daka. I think Vardy will come on in the second half. So if we need him and we need a goal, he's the man for the job. Obviously, Harvey Barnes loves a goal against West Ham, doesn't he? Russ. But what's your thoughts on Leicester, Russ, from a neutral perspective?
I felt really sorry for you guys at the beginning during the transfer window, because obviously you said Fofana went and it doesn't seem there was any movement, and it's like, everyone tells me what great owners the Leicester owners were, and it's like, well, you've actually done him in properly there, and as you said, they started off the season poorly, but hit form, and typically we always end up playing teams when they've hit form. So yeah, I think it's I'd like to see both of us kick on this season. I think I'm not worried about the big R. I don't think either of us will be in that battle, but it's going to be interesting, I think, because there'll be, as I said, coming back from the World Cup, players getting injured, players overperforming at the World Cup, coming back with extra attributes, so to speak. You'll have players who haven't played during the World Cup wanting to get some game time. It's going to be really interesting when we get back. I think it's going to be interesting as well this game week. There's going to be players who maybe are not that honest and might be thinking the World Cup starts next Sunday. Are they going to put that 50-50 challenge in? Are they not? The fact that we've only got a few players who will be at the World Cup may help us, maybe. You might assume someone like Bowen would want to prove that he should have been on the plane, or maybe he'll just go into a massive downhill spiral because he's not on the plane, but he played himself off that plane, to be honest. I think it's going to be an interesting week this week in the Premier League, and same going back to the first game back at Boxing Day, I think, as well.
7 points behind 7th, and that I believe it's Chelsea who's in 7th place. The relegation battle is 2 points. Leicester and West Ham could be dragged into it if any of them lose tomorrow. How close is it, Russ, the Premier League this season? Like, when you talk about the top 10 and the teams down the bottom, how close is it, Russ? You could win 1 week, couldn't you, and think, you know what, we're out of this, and then the relegation battle, if you lose, it's like one of them where, well, for God's sake, we're back in it, or what do we do now? We're doomed, do you know what I mean? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's really tight, man. I mean, as you said, it's starting to spread out a little bit. But that's sort of, I reckon, from sort of 8th downwards. I mean, there's only 9 points which separate 8th from 20th. And so, but we've only played 14 games.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, everyone's like, but we've only played 14 games. You know, it's like, it's not even halfway yet. We're not even, we've still got 24 games still to play. So we're not near halfway yet. So it's, as you said, any team which goes in a little run, you think you've got like 3 or 4 places on 19 points. So I think 8th, 9th and 10th are all on 19 points. So
I think that's Fulham and that, isn't it?
Yeah, Fulham, Liverpool and Palace or something like that. So, it's ridiculous. Then you've got a little bit of a gap. We've got a 3-point gap, and then it's just 6 points separates the bottom 11 or something ridiculous like that. So, as you said, a couple of wins, but it's also who you play as well. The fact is, because we're playing each other, that means whoever wins, or we get a draw, or whatever. If you win, then that's 3 points off us as well. So it's not like you're playing anyone in the top 6. So it's tight. It's tight, but I think there's a lot worse teams out there than us and you. So that's why I'm not worried about it.
I agree. I think both teams will stay up.
Oh yeah, no problem with that. No problem.
Ross, the last question I'm going to ask you then is score prediction.
2-2, 2-2. A Desmond.
2-2.
Yeah, honestly, we're so similar. Your score, but you'll concede. Or you not until sort of kind of recently, same as us. We score, but we concede, and that's one of the reasons why I think we did really well when we did our had 2 seasons of relative success, was because we weren't conceding. So we might only score 1, but we weren't conceding it. So as I said, the last 2 games, the Blackburn game and the Palace game, we've both conceded in both those games, like last minute winners or equalisers for Blackburn. But that's our problem at the moment. That's our problem. We just can't stop it and stop them coming in. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous at the moment.
Who do you think's going to score, Russ, for West Ham then and Leicester?
I would, and again, like our set play, I was going to say a set play, but we're not even scoring our set plays at the moment. It's ridiculous at the moment.
Good from set
we were
pieces,
kings.
You know what I mean?
We were the kings of the corner.
You were scoring them and we were letting them in.
We can't score anything at the moment. We can't. I think we've only scored 12 goals all season. Something. Yeah, 12 goals all season we've scored. That's ridiculous. Well, you've scored almost double what we've scored. I think who's going to score 2-2. I think it'll be. I'd like Bowen to score a goal, and I'd like Skamaka because he needs a goal. He hasn't scored in the last few games, and he's mustard. He's a must. He's a good player. Get the right people around him, he'll score an absolute shitload for you. But he's hasn't got the right people around him at the moment, unfortunately.
Interesting. Mayton's gone 3-0. I'm going to go 2-0, Russ.
Yeah.
There were a West Ham fan who I had on last night who sat there and was like, I'd love for you to see us beat us so we could sack David
Oh,
Moyes.
yeah, I don't.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't
What's
agree
your
with
thoughts
that.
on that, Russ?
Yeah, I said my piece this afternoon. I really don't get that. You know, for me, whoever's in the dugout gets my support because they're the manager, and we can't, and you can't. We don't pick the manager. If you don't agree, and you know, and so in the same way, we don't pick the players. So whoever comes out on the pitch, I support them because they're wearing the West Ham shirt. We would change our life to be that person. So whoever's in the dugout, whoever's on the pitch, they get my full support in the 90 minutes. Now, football,
you should
unfortunately,
never expect your team to lose, though, would you?
No, you shouldn't.
You want them to win every game.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's playing about. If it's, I know we've had Avram Grant, we've had Sam Allardyce, we've had some real funny managers, but whoever's in the dugout gets my full support. Oh no, Curbs was a sweet man. So for me, I really don't sort of subscribe to that. I like, you know, I want West Ham to win all the way. So, you know, and I want to pick.
Leicester.
So exactly. So no, I don't. But it is a results based business, unfortunately. So if the results don't come in, then you know it's not our decision. Who's the manager? Unfortunately. So if it was, we'd have gone.
Ross West Bed gone.
Do you know what? Oh, hey, that's a rad. I've had that beer for ages. But yeah,
I must have picked it up a long time ago then.
Yeah, it must be. Or maybe it was a bad. Maybe it's the old 5 o'clock shadow.
Ross, tell everybody then where they can find you then, mate.
So we're on the West Ham Network. So on YouTube, West Ham Network. So check us out, or Twitter and all that malarkey and all that stuff. Or check me out on The Overlap, Gary Neville's The Overlap, which I was on Monday, which I was very excited about, which was quite cool. But yeah, West Ham Network, same as you guys do, match day views. Come on, you know, if you're not fortunate enough to get to the game tomorrow, go on and slag off Anton. He'll be doing it. He doesn't sound like he's a West Ham fan, but he's from Scotland, but he is. So you can come in and give him some give him dishing some shouts out and all that type of thing. He loves all that banter. So feel free to do that. Win or lose.
Yeah, go and check out Russ's channel, guys. The link will be in the description. Russ, thank you for being my guest.
Pleasure,
tonight,
man.
And previewing the game. And good luck after tomorrow, pal.
After tomorrow, of course. Likewise. And I might even see him knocking about. I might see him knocking around tomorrow.
Who knows? Might bump into each other.
Well, you know where I sit, so it's all right.
Up in the music box. We know
up in the music box. I'll be in the music box.
When the wrestling music starts playing, we know Russ is here.
I'm going to play it just for you, just for you, Jack. I'll play a bit of Triple H just for you.
Get Triple H on.
Take care, man.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
See you.
That was Russ from the West Ham Network. Great guest tonight. Great chat as always. Thank you to Russ for coming on and previewing the match with me, giving the opposition view. And thank you to you guys also for the comments, as always, getting involved, asking the questions. Smash a like, guys, if you've enjoyed the stream tonight on Facebook and on YouTube. Subscribe to the Final Whistle if you can. And you're new to the channel, we're on 597, 96, 97. So if you can hit that subscribe button and let's get to 600, then it'd be much appreciated. Go and check out the Premier League predictions. Go in the comments on the Premier League predictions video and go and give me your Premier League predictions for the weekend then. Go and check out what I went for in the games and give me yours in the comments, of course. But what's coming up on the Final Whistle then? So we've got the match day vlog, which could be out potentially tomorrow night or Sunday morning. We've got the review show as well coming up as West Ham take on Leicester. And also we've got World Cup stuff coming up on the Final Whistle. So busy. I'm off. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. And come on, you foxes. See you later, guys. Bye-bye for now.